Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to Online Study for You, a complete placement solution. My name is Shruti Grover and I'm a software developer. Today we'll be solving previous year CodeVita TCS exam questions. So CodeVita is a coding contest that is being organized by TCS every year on a very large scale all over the India. So today we'll be solving and going through the questions that were asked in previous year in the CodeVita exam. Also, we have covered the content for Accenture, Wipro, Cognizant, and many more companies that we have provided to you. And if you want the live class for the TCS Code Vita, do comment in the comment section. Till that, let's start solving the problem. So the first problem that we have is, so in the first problem, given an array of size n integers and an integer k, perform at most k operations so that the sum of the elements of the final array is minimum. An operation is defined as pick an element from an array. Suppose you picked an element, say array of I. You have to replace that array of I by array of I by 2, floor value of array of I by 2. And then you have to perform the next operation on the updated array. Correct. So you have to minimize the sum after at most k operations. So let's understand what we have. So in an input, we are given an integer k and n. So integer n and integer k. Correct. And we have array which is of size n. Correct. K is the number of operations that you have to perform. That is maximum number of operations. Correct. And what you have to do, you have to minimize the sum of the elements of your array. So what can you do? You can pick an array of I element and you have to divide that element by 2 and you have to replace its value by array of I by 2, and then you have to perform the next operation on any other element that is given in the array. And at last, what you have to do, you have to minimize the sum after performing k operations. So you'll your output will be also an integer value, that is the sum. Correct. So we are given with the constraints. So n values lies between 1 to 10 to the power 5, same for k also. Let's understand how is the input given to us first. The first line contains an integer n and an integer k. That's correct. So we have n and then we have k. And then in the next line, you have n elements that are separated by space that represents the array elements. Suppose the size of your array is 3, that is n is equal to 3. So in the next line, you will have your array elements, that is array of I plus 1 and so on. This will go till n, correct? And in the output, you have to print an integer that will represent the minimum sum of the final array. So for example, look at the first example where your n is 4, correct? And k is 3. So the size of your array is 4 and number of operations that you have to perform is 3. And what are the array elements? So array elements are 2, 7, 5, 4. Correct? This is your array. You have to perform at most 3 operations. Correct? What are the operations? You have to pick any element and divide it by 2. Correct? And you have to perform it k times. So suppose for this array, if I pick element 20, as I have to minimize the sum. So at first, I'll pick the element 20. So array of I is 20. Okay. And I divide it by 2. I'll do array of I by 2, which will be 10. Correct. Now my array will become 10, 7, 5, 4. Correct. This is my first operation. My second operation is, now my array is 10, 7, 5, 4. Correct. Now I have to perform three operation. I have done first operation. Now what is my second operation? Which element I'll pick? Suppose I pick 10. Correct, because 10 is my largest element in the given array. So I'm picking the largest element and dividing it by 2 in order to minimize the sum. So what I'll do 10 by 2. 10 by 2 will be 5, 7, 5, 4. Correct. So this is my array after performing operation second time. Now, if I have to perform the operation third time, because k is 3, you have to perform it k times. So which is my maximum element? So I choose 7. So after choosing 7, 7 by 2, floor value of 7 by 2 will be 3, correct? 7, it will be 5, 3, 5, 4, correct? Now I have performed operations k times. 3 times I have performed first, second, and third. Now, after doing the summation of all the elements, sum will be 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 4. What it will? 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 4. It will be 5 plus 3, 5 plus 5, 10, and 10 plus 4 plus 3, that will be 17. So my output should be 17. Let's see. Output is 17, correct. So they have written the explanation. Let's read out this once. So you are given an array. After choosing first operation, they are replacing an element 20 by 10. So my array becomes 10, 7, 5, 4, which is correct. After that, I am choosing an element 10 and my operations become 5, 7, 5, 4. That is my array become 5, 7, 5, 4. And after performing third operation, the array will become 5, 3, 5, 4. Correct. And at last, I have to do the summation of all the elements that are present in my array after performing k operations. Suppose if I'll take another input, suppose n is 1, k is also 1, correct? And array element is suppose 20. Okay. And now you have to perform the operation one time. K is 1. So what will be your output? Let's see. So in my array, we have 20. What kind of operation you have to perform? You have to choose an element and divide it by 2. Suppose in first operation, now I have only one choice to pick the element, that is only the number 20. I'll replace it by 20 by 2, which will be 10. So in my array now it will contain 10. So array will have 10, correct? And now I have to perform the sum. So sum will be 10, correct? So this will be the sum, that will be the minimized sum that we have. So this will be my output. Suppose now if I have n is equal to 1 and k is equal to 4, correct? And I have array element as 20. Now I have to perform operations 4 times in order to minimize the sum. So what we can do, when my k is 1, what I can do? I can divide 20 by 2, 20 by 2, which will be 10. So array of I will now contain 10. Now I have k is equal to 2. So I have 10 by 2, which will be 5. So array of I will be 5. Now, okay, correct. Now when k is equal to 3, so 5 by 2, which will be 2. So now my array will contain 5 only, correct? Now k is equal to 4. Now my array, oh, it will be 2. So 2 by 2, which will be 1. So my sum will be 1 only. After performing k operations and dividing the number by 2 4 times, I'll get the sum as minimum sum that I can get will be 1. So this is the examples that we have discussed. Let's understand what kind of approach we can use to build this solution. Correct. So in order to solve this problem, what we can do, every time we are picking the maximum element, I can show you, every time we are picking the maximum element. In the first operation, I picked 20. In the second operation, we picked 10. In the third operation, we picked 7. Correct? Every time we are picking the maximum element in my array. So what we can do, what you can do, you can use a, first of all, you can use a while loop. While k greater than 0 means you are performing the operations k times, correct? And you have to pick out the maximum element and you have to replace it by dividing the number by 2. So what you can do, you can sort the element, sort the array, correct? Every time when you will sort the array, the element which is at last, that is at n minus 1th index, will be the maximum element. Sort the array means you are making the elements of an array in either the ascending order or descending order. But by default, whenever I'll be sorting an array or vector, it will be in ascending order, that is in increasing order. So the element which will be at n minus 1th index, why n minus 1th index? Because I am following the zero based indexing, correct? So that will be my maximum element. So what I can do, I can do array of n minus 1 will be my maximum element. I have to divide the maximum element by 2 in order to minimize the sum. Okay, so what I can do, I can write array of n minus 1 by 2. I am dividing it by 2 every time, correct? And after performing it k times, what I can do, I can run a for loop and calculate the sum, and calculate the sum. What does this means? Suppose I was having, when n is equal to 4 and k is equal to 3, in my array I was having 20, 5, 7, 4. Correct? This was my array. So suppose k is 3, first step. K is 3. 3 is greater than 0. It will go into this while loop. We'll sort the array. So my array will become 4, 7, 5, 20. Correct? After sorting. Okay. And now I'll take out the element which is at last index. This is my 0th index. This is first, this is second, and this is third. So n minus 1 will be 20. I'll replace this element by array of n minus 1 by 2, which will be 4, 7, 5, 10. Okay. After doing this, I'll do k minus minus. I have performed first operation. Now my k will be 2. Okay. 2 is also greater than 0. It will go into the while loop. Again, it will sort this array. Not, this was already sorted. Now it will sort this array. So 4, 7, 5, 20. Okay. So one thing I have done, 4, 5, 7, 20. Correct. 4, 5, 7, 20. Yes. So when I'll sort it, it's already in sorted order. So it will be 4, 5, 7, 10. Correct. Now I'll again take out the element which is at n minus 1 index, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, that is 10. So I'll divide 10 by 2. So my array will become 4, 5, 7, 5. Okay, this means I have performed the second operation also. Now I'll do k minus minus. Okay, so now k will become 1. Okay, now after, when k is again greater than 0, because k is 1, it will go into the while loop and it will sort this array, because I have updated it by array of I is equal to array of I by 2, that is n minus 1th index where I is. So I am doing 4, 5, 5, 7. After sorting, it will become like this. And now I'll choose the element which is at last index, that is 7. I'll replace it by 2. So 4, 5, 5, 3. Correct? So this will be my element, and now k will become 0. So now my array is like this. I'll do the sum. Sum will be 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 3. So which will be 17. Correct? So this was the approach to solve this problem, brute force, that one can think of. So the time complexity for this approach will be, So I'm running the while loop k times, correct? And I'm performing the sort operations, correct? So it sorting will take order of n log n, and I am running it k times, so it will be order of k into n log n, so which will be order of k into n log n, correct? And then I am calculating the sum, so it will take k into n log n plus order of n. This will be my overall time complexity, and space complexity will be order of 1 because I am not using any extra space. So I'll code this problem in C++ and will show you the code in Java also. So to move towards the problem, so first of all, I'll include the header file. After that, I'll include using namespace std. I'll write the main function. In the first line, I have to take input as integer n and k. So I'll write int n k. Then I'll take an input. After that, I have to take a vector, or you can say array, which is of size n, and I have to take the elements as input in my vector. So I'll run a for loop till n, and I'll take the elements. Correct? After that, what I have to do? I'll initialize in sum is equal to 0, which is used to calculate the sum. I'll run my for loop while k greater than 0. Every time I'll sort my vector, which will be array dot begin, and it will go till array dot end. Correct? And what I'll do, I'll replace my element which is at n minus 1 index as n minus 1 by 2. Correct? After that, I'll run a for loop and I'll calculate the sum. Correct? And I'll print it. So if I'll take input n as 4, k as 3, and I'll enter 2574. Let's see the output we are getting. So, okay, it's saying time limit exceeded. So we are not doing k minus minus here. I forgot to do this. So now let's run it again. So I'm getting the correct output as 17. Suppose if I'll run it for 20, when n is 1, k is 4, and element is 20. Now let's do. So I'm getting the output as 1, which I showed you by doing the dry run. So I'll show you the Java code also for this problem. So the Java code that we have is, suppose I'm importing the first of all the header files of Java. After that, I'm taking an input as integer n and k, and I'm initializing an array which is of size n. Then I am taking the elements in my array through the user. I'm running a while loop while k greater than 0. I'm sorting an array again and again till my k is greater than 0. And I'm updating the element which is at last index by 2. Correct? And after that, I'm doing calculating the sum by doing sum plus equal to array of I. And I'm printing the sum by using system.out.println sum. Correct? So this was the code in Java. Now as I told you, the time complexity for this is order of k into n log n plus order of n, that is used for calculating the sum. So, do we have any optimized way to solve this problem? And I think yes. So, let's understand the optimized way to solve the problem. As you know, we are sorting the elements, and every time we are taking the maximum element, correct? So, what you can do, have you heard of the priority queue data structure? So, we have priority queue, correct? So in priority queue, we have two kinds of heaps. One is maximum heap max heap and one is minimum heap. Correct? So as we are taking out the maximum element every time and we are doing array of I by 2, every time we are taking the maximum element. So to take out the maximum element, we can maintain a priority queue, that is maximum heap, maintain a maximum heap. For maximum heap, the maximum element will be at top. Correct? Correct. So after maintaining a maximum heap, what I can do, I can take out the element every time which is maximum, that is at the top of the queue. After taking out, I can do array of I by 2, that element, and I can insert back into my queue. What does this means? Suppose I have elements as 20, 4, 7, 5. Correct? So if I have inserted all these elements into my priority queue, suppose this is my priority queue. So the element which will be at top will be 20, then 7, then 4, and then 5. Correct? Suppose if I take out the element which is at the top of the priority queue, this top element is 20, so 20 will come out. This will be my top element. So I'll do this top is equal to top by 2. Suppose this is my, so I'll do 20 by 2, which is 10. Correct? I'll insert back this element into my priority queue. So what now will it will become? It will become 10, 7, 4, 5. Correct? After doing this, again I'll take out the top element. Top element is the 10. That is the maximum element. So after doing that, popping out this element, I'll make sure I'll do 10 by 2 because I have to do array of I by 2 every time, k times I have to do. So now it will become 5. So I have to insert back this 5. So what I can now, what my, oh, sorry, it will be 2754. Minimum will be at top. Minimum will be at the bottom. Correct? So this was the mistake that I did. Now it will be 7, then 5, then 5, then 4. It will automatically arrange and the maximum element will be at the top and the minimum element will be at bottom. And now when they'll pop out, so the top element will be 7. So I'll do 7 by 2, which will be 3. So now the array will become 5, 5, 4, 3. Correct? Maximum element will be at top. Then after that, I'll pop out all the elements and calculate the sum. So I'll do 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3. Correct? So I can maintain a priority queue. What is the syntax to maintain a maximum heap? So I'll write priority queue, which is of type int because I'm storing numbers. Suppose it is PQ. I'll insert all elements in my priority queue. Okay, so inserting an element will be PQ dot push and the element. And after that, I'll perform the operation k times. Correct? What I'll do, I'll take out the element, that is suppose int top will be pq dot top. Correct? Then I'll do top is equal to top by 2 and here I'll pop also pq dot pop. Okay, and after that what I'll do, I'll insert back into my queue after doing the operation. So I'll do pq dot push top. Correct? After doing these operation, I'll pop out every element of my priority queue until the priority queue becomes empty, and I'll show you. So I'm removing all these things. Correct? And I'll make sure I'll run the priority queue and take out the elements until my priority queue becomes empty while not pq.empty. And I'll do sum plus equal to pq dot top, that I'll take out the sum first element of my priority queue and I do pq dot pop. and at last I'll print sum. Correct. After solving this approach, what will be my time complexity? So the time complexity will be, as I am performing k operations, and it will in the priority queue, it will automatically be k log n because I am performing it k times. Correct. And that will be order of n plus performing calculating the sum, or you can say anything. So it will be order of k log n for this and the space complexity will be order of n. Correct. This will be my time complexity. Now let's code this problem again in C++, and I'll explain you the operations that we'll be using it to code it. Correct. Also, I'll show you the code in Java. So to move towards the problem that we have, so uh, so the first line, few lines are same because I'm taking the input integer n and k, and then I'm taking an integers as input in my vector. I'll initialize a priority queue of type int and I'll name it as pq. I'll run a for loop from int I equal to 0, I less than n, and I plus plus. I'll insert all my elements in my priority queue. So as I'm using maximum heap, so maximum element will be at top. So I'll push no, array of I. Correct. After doing that, what I'll do? I'll perform operation k times while k greater than 0. Correct. I'll take out the element int number will be pq dot top, which will give me the top element. Correct. And I'll do number is equal to number by 2, and I'll pop out the element of that. And after that, I'll insert back that element into my queue. So I'll insert number. After performing array of I by 2 on that number, I'll insert back into my queue. So it will automatically arrange and perform the heapify operation. Correct. After that, I'll do while not pq dot empty. Correct. I'll do sum plus equal to pq dot top, which will give me the top element, and I'll pop out the element in order to make the queue empty and calculating the sum. And at last I'll print it. Suppose if I'll run it for the test case 4, 3, 20, 5, 7, 4. Let's run it. Okay, so we have not added k minus minus. Now let's run it again. So I'm getting the correct output, which is 17. If I'll run it for another test case that we have, suppose n is 1, k is also 1, and the number integer is 20. So after performing one operation, that will be 20 by 2, it will become 10. Correct. So I'll show you the code in Java for priority queue now. So as you can see, first we have taken an input of integer n, k, and an array elements. After that, I have initialized the priority queue using this syntax, which is priority queue, which is of type integer pq, and then I have adding the elements in my priority queue using the method dot add. Correct. After that, I'm performing while k greater than 0. I'm popping out the element and I'm adding the element that is number by 2. Okay. And after that, I'm calculating the sum until my peak priority queue becomes empty. I'm taking out the element of the top and popping it, which is done by pq dot poll. And after that, I'll print out the sum. If I'll run this code, I'm getting the correct output, which is 17. So we have discussed one question today, which was very important. And if you have any doubts, do reach out to us. Again, if you want live classes for TCS CodeVita, where we'll be solving maximum number of questions that were asked in previous year, do comment down in the comment section that is given to you. Till that, take care and bye-bye.